Hello YouTube. I am not going to waste too much time with an intro this time around. I'm basically just going to get right to it. The other day I was thinking, because I was listening to somebody do a video about the Rivian and the Rivian tank turns, and it occurred to me, and I'm hoping that this is something that the Tesla people have already thought of. There's a lot of really smart people there, but they've also been keeping a lot of information close to their chest, so we're going to see what happens whenever the final details start pouring out, but kind of hoping I'm onto something. So, during this last earnings call a couple weeks ago, Elon Musk said, I think actually the product is better than people realize even. They don't have enough information to realize just the awesomeness of it. It's just great about the Cybertruck. Now, we know that they haven't told us everything about the specs and about the way that it's designed or any of that kind of stuff. And so a lot of people have talked about how one of the biggest advantages that the Rivian has over the Cybertruck is that it has the tank turn ability. It's an extremely useful ability, and so whenever I was listening to that, it kind of made something click for me. Now, for those of you that don't know what a tank turn is, I'm going to give a really, really quick explanation of the basics of it. You guys know probably exactly why a tank turn works, but I'm just going to run through it real quick. Tanks, kind of like this little toy bulldozer right here. Tanks have two treads, one on each side, and they can go in the same direction and go forward or backwards, or if they're going in opposite directions, it'll make it spin in place. Now, the reason why the tank turn on the Rivian works is because each wheel has its own motor. And so kind of like on the bottom of this bulldozer, this is a toy, so it's got four wheels. Basically, the two tires on this side will be going backwards. The two tires on this side will go forward. And so you have a Rivian doing a tank turn. They can only do them really on dirt without possibly hurting and just completely destroying the tires, but that's just the nature of it. Now, the reason why the Cybertruck and why no other car on the market really can do that is because with one engine, you really can't do anything. And Teslas right now have open differentials. If you don't know what that is, Google it right now, or do a quick YouTube search in another window or something like that. But they have open differentials, which has been around for a really long time, but they have really, really good traction control systems to where they act just like they have limited slip differentials. And so because they're using these open differentials, they're right now using one motor in the back, one motor in the front. That's the same thing that's, more or less going on with some of the other EVs and stuff, but Rivian and some of the others like Bollinger and stuff like that are putting one motor at each wheel, which is giving every wheel a lot more independence with which direction that they go. And so what could happen if people have never heard of the one-wheel peel? It's when an open differential, a car that has an open differential, basically all of the power will go to one wheel, that one wheel will break loose, and then you have a car that's basically just doing a burnout with only one tire. That one tire is just going crazy. The tire on the other side of the car, over on this side you're getting smoke, over on this side the car's just slowly creeping forward. If not for the noise and everything else, you couldn't tell anything was going on. It's just moving forward. Now, this is the first more janky, kind of almost funny, embarrassing way that Tesla could manage to do a tank turn with the Cybertruck. If they were able to figure out how to program their systems and everything in a dual motor or a tri-motor to take advantage of that one wheel peel effect, you could get the back tire busting loose while at the same time up at the front, the car essentially creating another one wheel peel again, and you could get this back tire and this front tire moving in opposite directions, create a spin. Now, it would really, really hurt the tires, especially on harder materials, so it would really not be the best way to go. But that's not the only way that they could do it. There are some vehicles on the market that are doing what's called four-wheel steering. It's kind of a complicated thing because almost everything's done mechanically right now. You have steering linkages running to the front and to the back and stuff like that. Now, I haven't dug deep enough to know exactly how the steering mechanisms are that Teslas are using, and so we don't know what the Cybertruck's doing or any of that kind of stuff. But for people who don't know, four-wheel steering will basically let you have all four wheels turn at the same time. So I picked this little toy car because you can kind of see the tires, and so I'm hoping that'll help you kind of envision how I'm describing it. With a four-wheel steering car, if you're going really, really, really slow, like you're in a parking lot, whenever you turn the front wheels to the right, the back wheels will turn in the opposite direction. And so you get a counter steer from the back, so instead of just the front turning and the back kind of dragging along as it goes, you can actually have a car where the back wheels, because they're counter steering, will actually sort of pivot in place to give you a tighter turning radius. Now, that can help on twisting roads and all kinds of other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of useful methods for it. It hasn't been used a ton because that adds a lot of expense and a lot of complications to drivetrains of vehicles to add all of those linkages and everything in, and they can wear out. Some of the earlier, I think it was like the earlier Mazda RX-7s used a system like that, and it used like a bushing setup or something like that, and over time those bushings would wear out and it would actually make the back end feel funny, so people would literally get rid of it. It just wasn't a great system back then. But who knows, that might change in the near future with a lot of things moving away from using linkages for everything. We might see a shift here. So a four-wheel steering can do that. Another thing that they can do, which isn't as relevant in this case to the discussion, is moving at higher speeds, just whoosh, really fast. If you're moving side to side in a lane, just imagine that this car is going like 60 to 70 miles an hour. If you have a trailer hitch on the back, because you're like a truck that's hauling like a horse trailer or something like that, whenever you change lanes, your car, because your front tires are moving by themselves, it kind of causes the car to wiggle like this as you're changing lanes. Now, this happens pretty consistently. It all depends on how everything is balanced and everything. But if you have a vehicle that has this four-wheel steering, you can have the front wheels and the back wheels turning in the exact same direction. When that happens, instead of a wiggle, your car just kind of shifts over. Now, I'm not sure that I'm really explaining it very well, but if you were to kind of be mimicking these movements with a toy car in your hand, as you're doing this, you can kind of feel based on like if this tire isn't turning with you, you can kind of feel resistance. If it were turning with me, it makes a difference. I'm probably not even explaining it that well, but I'm really hoping you guys kind of get the picture. So four-wheel steering has a lot of advantages like that. It can do a lot of things both for slow speed and fast, in parking lots, all that kind of stuff. Now, as we discussed, the reason why the Rivian tank turns is because of the individual throttle directions, forward or back, on each side of the vehicle. What could happen, and this is obviously, I'm not an insider, I've never worked at Tesla, heck, I didn't know really anything about Teslas till just several months ago, and then I started learning more about them. If Tesla had a four-wheel steering system, you could turn at a standstill all four tires in the same direction to where all of the tires are pointed this way. And if your back tires are moving forward and your front tires are moving backwards, you get a tank turn. It doesn't use that side and that side. It uses front and back moving in opposite directions to basically spin the car. So, will they do it? Probably not, maybe not, who knows. Just a crazy idea that I'm just a random dude thinking up. If this vehicle has four-wheel steering, that is something that it would be capable of doing. We don't know. There's very little they've told us. But guys, I'm kind of crossing my fingers. Once that thought came into my head, it's like, I kind of can't shake it now. one of the biggest things that people have kind of, used as justification for the higher price of some of the other vehicles kind of evaporates when you can do this. And they've said that the Cybertruck cannot do it because of not having independent wheel motors. This could change that. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be like the hub motor thing where the car can spin in place with the tires doing all kinds of really weird and crazy stuff, but this would be a really useful off-road ability. So anyways, I'm going to end it now. I don't even know how long I've been talking, but it's probably too long, I can guarantee it. Y'all have a good day. Bye.